Hi, my name is Miss Lawson and I'm an art teacher. So I have created these paint-alongs so you can enjoy painting within your home using either supplies provided by me or your own supplies and paint a beautiful masterpiece that you can hang up as soon as we're done. Here are the supplies you will need from your house. Now, the thing about this paint-along is I'm not providing any materials. You are using any materials you have at home. There are specific paint colors that you will need. You will need light pink, yellow, orange, red, and a little bit of black. Now, I do have packets available where you could purchase and you have all these paint colors in a box with all your tools. But this paint along I'm doing a little different. I'm giving you the opportunity to use whatever materials you have at home, and I'm just giving you the directions. So we are gonna be painting a sun today. And what's cool about the sun is he's wearing shades because he's so bright. So what I need you to do is gather the materials together and just take a minute to understand that the video is a great way to use play, pause, repeat. And what this means is you play the video, and if at any time you feel like I'm going too fast, hit the pause button. I'm kind of like a robot and you just stopped me. And when you hit pause, take a moment, gather yourself, see if you need to repeat any of my directions before you jump in. Because the one thing about the paint that I'm using, which is acrylic paint, and you may be using it too, is that you can't wipe it off or erase it. Once it's on the canvas or paper, a way to correct anything you don't like is to let it completely dry, and that's by just walking away and going and doing something else, or using a blow dryer with your parents' permission and getting it dry a little faster. Once it's completely dry, you can go back and do it over again or do it over what you just did. So that's a great thing about acrylic paint is it's never permanent, but you can fix it. So take the time, make sure you have all your tools together. And another reason we like to use chalk is as we are drawing out the shape of the sun, chalk is a great tool that can be wiped off your canvas or paper and then drawn again. So that is why I don't use a pencil or a marker or anything like that. Because if you try to draw on the canvas with those tools and you can't erase it or wipe it off, and then, then you may see it through your lens. But the chalk, you can wipe off and then redo it, and you can actually paint over the lines and you won't see it again. So I hope you can join me and some other paint-alongs that I have for purchase on my website. I have one called the Ruby Williams series, where you can paint a strawberry, a carrot, or a pineapple. And then I have a summer series, popsicle, a lemon, and a watermelon. So all those are available for purchase through my website. And you can also purchase the link where you're doing it like this one at home with your own supplies, or you could purchase the paint along box. And the box would have all the paints you would need, paintbrushes, chalk, if I'm using a Sharpie, if you buy it on canvas or paper. So take a look, see if maybe you're interested in one of those, if you like doing the So Bright Sun, and I hope you come back and join me again. I can't wait to see some of your suns, so remember, you can tag me at Brandon Lawson on Instagram or at the Art Barn Studio on your Facebook. So I can't wait to see some of your So Brights. Okay guys, this paint along is called Bright Summer. We're going to be doing a sun with some cool shades. So I have my paper, it is horizontal. I have taped the corners a little bit just to keep the paper from moving. I have my water in the cup. I have a paintbrush, a foam brush. I have my paint, and we're going to go over those colors in a minute. And then I do have chalk. Or you could use a pencil if you do not have chalk to draw some of these shapes out. And then I do have a Sharpie. If you don't have black paint, you can use a Sharpie. It may not come out as good for the sunglasses, but that is an option. I'm gonna tape down my paint palette just so it won't move as I paint. For the paint colors, we have a light pink. This is gonna be the background color. And then we have yellow, which is going to be the circle of the sun. Then we have an orange, which we're kind of mix these two after we're done with the yellow to make a light orange for the rays of the sun. We have a primary red, pink for the cheeks, and then black for the sunglasses. So first of all, you do not have to have a foam brush, but they're really good to cover a big area quickly. And this is the only color I use with it, is the background color. Once I put the background color on, then I throw this away because you can't really reuse the foam brushes. They don't clean off well. So I did leave a small white edge just because I don't want to paint on the table. I don't have anything protective, and the corners are taped down, so I'd have to untape them to get all the way. So most likely if you're doing it on a paper, it's going to be framed, so you don't have to completely cover the entire paper. Now, if you are doing it on a canvas, you must remember canvases have sides to it, so you do want to cover all the front and you want to cover the sides with this color if you're using a canvas for this project. Make sure you smooth it out because any clumps will take longer to dry. So this layer needs to air dry, or you can get a blow dryer and quickly add that blow dryer to it to get to the next level. Okay, so quickly check, make sure that the center part of your canvas or paper is dry. See, I see a little paint on there. Now, the next step is going to either be using your chalk or your pencil. It really doesn't matter with the paper. Now, on the canvas, I would recommend using chalk, not a pencil, because you might poke a hole in the canvas. And chalk, you can erase it if you draw the shape of the sun and you think it's too big or too small. Because the first thing we're going to do is draw the circle. Now, you've got to remember to draw your best circle possible. And if you think it's a little wonky, just take a little paper towel, not much, dip it in your water if it's clean, and just kind of wipe it off. But you got to be careful, because if your paint is damp, you don't want to smear the paint off. So your first shape is going to be the circle of the sun. Coming off the circle of the sun, you're going to do the rays. It's going to be a kind of a wave line. So right above, I'm going to leave a little space, and I'm going to do kind of a smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, and I'm going to, well, now it's turning to a frowny face, all the way around until I connect to the first one. So you do want to make sure you have some space between your circle and this, because these are going to be two different colors. See where it's damp, it won't let me use my chalk. And then you're going to put this chalk down. We're not going to add the sunglasses quite yet. We're going to paint in these two colors, then we'll blow dry it. So now you're going to use your paintbrush. It doesn't matter what size paintbrush. You just want to make sure it is small enough to fit in there, not too big. So we're going to start with our yellow. I'm going to trace that first shape I drew with this, just the circle. And we're just painting in the circle. This is why it's important that you have a dry background color. You don't want to mix yellow and pink together. If you don't cover the chalk, it's fine, or the pencil markings. Just try your best. Okay, so I've got my yellow sun. I'm not going to wash my brush off because I want to mix this yellow in with this orange. I don't want it to be super bright. I want to take it down a little bit. So I'm going to pull a little bit off my paint palette, and in the middle I'm going to mix in until I get a lighter orange. That one's good. And then I'm going to use it. And the reason we pull the two colors in between is just in case you have to cover something up. Maybe you accidentally mess up in color in the sun and you need yellow to paint over it. If you mix all your yellow into the orange, then you don't have any more yellow left. So it's important just to use the area between to pull those two colors together And that way you still have orange, you still have yellow, and you also have a new color in the middle. Okay, so I've traced my little curves. Now I'm gonna go and do the circle around my sun before I fill in the space. Okay, so I've traced that circle. Now I'm gonna fill in those little spots with that yellow orange. Okay. So I want to make sure I don't see any pink under the yellow or underneath the orange yellow. Okay, so I'm going to put my paintbrush in the water so it will soak off that paint. I'm gonna let this air dry, or you can use your blow dryer, so then we can add the last final touches, which is our pink cheeks and the black sunglasses. Okay, so I'm gonna do my check, make sure they're dry. They are, that's not from there. Now, again, if you have your pencil or your chalk, you wanna do the sunglasses and the cheeks, so you can know where to put them before we paint them. Now the cheeks, I'm gonna have to use the pencil. I don't know if you can see that. There's one cheek. That's just a circle that I'm painting. Now my paintbrush is the yellow, so I'm gonna bounce it off the bottom to get it all clean. Make sure we don't tap it, but dab it on the paper towel. Okay, once it's all clean and dry, now we're gonna go to our primary red. And again, this brush is a tad bit big, but it'll still work. I just kind of spin it in a circle. Okay, so I've got his two cheeks. I'm going to let this soak. I'm gonna blow dry it one more time because our sunglasses are gonna go kind of over some of our cheek part, and I don't wanna mix in the pink and the black. Okay, so for the sunglasses, now you have two options. You could use your chalk if it's dry to draw these out and then paint it in black, but if you don't have black, you could use your Sharpie. You just gotta make sure that you may have to let it dry a little longer because it is a thick paint, depending on what type of paint you're using, so it may not show up the first time. Now the sunglasses, the first line we're gonna do is gonna be straight across. We're gonna come outside our sun, just kind of above our cheeks, and we're gonna draw a straight line. Notice I only went a little bit over the sun. I kind of need to know right where the middle is, just so I know when I curve for the part that covers your eyes that I don't want it to be uneven. Because if you're doing it with marker, then you can't really fix it. You've got to kind of go with the first time you do it and just go with whatever you got. So I'm going to start on the end. I'm going to go over the cheek a little bit and kind of meet right around the middle. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle. Same thing. So again, you can see where it's not completely dry, so the Sharpie is kind of hard to use for that way. I'm going to make the middle a little bit thicker. Okay, so I'm gonna finish with paint, but if you didn't have black paint, Sharpie is an option. It may not cover completely, but it is an option. I need to clean off all the color from my brush, so gently bouncing it on the bottom, dabbing it. May need to do it once or twice. Okay, so I'm gonna get my black paint. And I'm just gonna color right in that shape. A half circle. I can kind of see where this one's smaller than that one, so I'm going to try to fix that. And again, if that happens, perfection is not what Miss Lawson is going for. I hope the same for you. I'm just trying to make myself feel happy with what I'm coming up with. And maybe his sunglasses are crooked. You gotta be careful, because if you keep painting, you may not be able to fix it. Now, if you do mess up and you're very unhappy with it, let it dry completely, and that's why we have leftover paint. Hopefully you could paint over whatever part you don't like with the leftover paint and then go back and fix it. That is an option, but it does have to be completely dry. Okay, our son doesn't have any smile, he just has his cool shade. So I'm gonna take my paintbrush, soak it. Do not forget, the last thing, you can use a pencil or a Sharpie or any other tool, even a pen. You gotta sign your artwork. And remember, we wanna do it in the bottom corner. We don't wanna do it across the top of the sun. So make sure you do not forget to sign your artwork. And remember, you can throw away your paper towel, throw away your paint palette. Remember to make sure all the paint is off your brush by completely washing it off in the sink. And I hope you enjoyed this paint along with me.